The Creek and the Cave in Long Island City closed. It's where I really started my comedy career. It was a Mexican restaurant. Did it serve expired food? Perhaps. Did they know how to melt cheese? Not really. You'd think that would be a prerequisite for a Mexican restaurant, melting cheese. But that's okay. It was about comedy. A lot of great comedians came out of there. Not really, but some. Donald Glover went there once, so they just say Donald Glover. He was like, just stopped in there once. Oh. Rebecca Trent, the owner, loved comedy. And we appreciate her. She allowed comedians to go in there and get better at comedy. And then the big brouhaha happened when the Legion of Skanks podcast, my friends, Louis J. Gomez, Dave Smith, Big J. Okerson, booked Milo Yiannopoulos to appear on the program last year, and the comedy community in New York threw a fit. And they threw this woman, Rebecca Trent, under the bus, big time. Now, this woman, and I knew her, she had Thanksgivings every year and Christmases for people that did not have the money to fly home to their families, comics that had moved to New York City, or people that just didn't have families to fly home to. She had Christmases for them. She raised money for several comics that had cancer. She allowed certain comics to almost basically live at the Creek and the Cave that didn't have a place to live. And then everybody decided that all of that didn't really mean that she wasn't a Nazi. They went right at her. They said, well, this woman, yes, she's fed us and let us stay here and given us a place to do comedy, but a podcast at our venue booked a gay conservative troll. So this woman, as you know, she's a part of the German Bund, I guess. I don't know. But it was a split in the comedy community between the comics that were like, hey, respect the right of artists to do whatever they want, and the comics that were like, she's a Nazi, and I don't like Nazis. Nazis are bad. So there was that very reasonable, rational discourse that was had between people that were like, well, we're respecting the right of a podcast to have on a guest that is controversial. And then on the other side, people that were like, are you going to put people in gas chambers, Hitler? You're like, well, no, we're just going to let a guy who lost his entire career appear in the basement of a Mexican restaurant on the Legion of Skanks podcast. A guy who had lost a book deal and had lost all his spots on Fox News. You would have imagined that this would be the kind of justice you people wanted, right? I mean, he's literally sitting there as they fry fucking tortillas, and he's got to make a point about globalism, okay, while he has to step on guacamole. He's a Nazi, and she's a Nazi, and you're a Nazi. That's going to be the musical about this era. Nazis here, Nazis there, Nazis everywhere. These people think it's like The Sound of Music, except in that era, there were actual Nazis everywhere. Now it's like, everybody's like, so she never fully recovered from that, her image in the community. Not to people like me, we dig her, but the Looney Tunes. Now, the problem is when you own a comedy venue, many of the people that go there are Looney Tunes. They're maniacal. So when you fall on the wrong side of Crazy Town, those people are angry at you, and that hurts your business because they say that you are supporting hate speech. And they had Anthony Cumia on, and people went nuts about that, and And unfortunately, this woman never, and she called me, and I spoke to her about it. And I said, listen, Louis called me. I remember I was outside of my apartment in Queens, and Louis goes, is this guy really that bad? Is Milo that bad? I go, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. But I said, then again, you're asking me, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. That's me, but she called me and she goes, what am I doing? Am I doing the right thing here? I said, I think you are. I don't think it will end with Milo Yiannopoulos. I think if you allow people to shut down a controversial guest on a podcast. This doesn't stop with that guy. It just won't. And she, agreed with me. And now her business is closed. That's it. But I think it's the corona lockdown. But part of it is that is a mind virus that's eating the minds of many people that you knew and that you were friends with. And Biden's win will not cure them. By the way, it will not cure them. And, I feel bad for her because I think that was this weird turning point where the people that she had supported and the people that she had also just learned how to melt cheese, but the people that she had supported and the people that she had gone to bat for did not really go to bat for her. I did. I was on social media, bringing it up, saying this woman, all she's done is try to help comedians. But what are you going to do?